Greg Bakun on. If you're not listening to that at 10 o'clock at night, it's fantastic. We'll turn your mic on. There you go. There, Greg, fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for saying the kind words.
A quick note to Brett. Are we broadcasting audio on the stream then?
We are, yes.
Okay. Dr. Joe might not just be listening to it. Just wondering about that. Of course, what have you had anything new that has been like, okie dokie, yeah, that's incredible?
Nothing incredible. I think the big news lately has been, I don't know if you've seen this, where people in Miami, at a shopping mall in Miami, there's this call for a ton of police officers to come to a mall in Miami. The complaint was that people are fighting with sticks, whatever that means.
Okay. And
it turned into people believing that it's actually aliens there, 10-foot-tall aliens there that are, for whatever reason, that's what this story morphed into. And
I like the tall ladies. So,
yeah, well, I mean,
it is Miami. There are very statuesque women down there.
Well, they like the glam, the high heels. So I'm assuming that's really what it all turns out to be. I believe a lot of crap. Okay. I don't believe this for a second.
Okay, if I am an alien, I'm not going to Florida, okay?
Well, if you want to be amongst your own.
Well, it's you could kind of saw that guy with the weird head.
Which one?
I kind of get why they're out in the middle of New Mexico. Because, it's I can kind of come down, study the atmosphere, what's like some of the animal life. Northern Canada, sure, gotcha, no problem. Miami? No, I don't know.
I don't know either, and there's nothing to it, unfortunately. I'm still waiting for that moment of like, okay, I can't say no to this. This is pretty incredible.
I was over at Knollwood today, and there was a ton of police cars. Could it have been tall aliens? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, did you see them?
No, I didn't see the aliens.
Then probably not.
Well, I was in produce over at Cub. It's not exactly aliens. Ethel was there. She's an elderly woman, and she's a regular shopper.
I wanna use that. Next time someone asks me what I was up to, I was at produce at Cub.
I was at produce Cub.
That's great. I love that.
You and I are big Doctor Who fans. And we've had you on the air to talk about Doctor Who. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I really do love the show. This weekend, it is they've got their little conference here in town, the convention, right?
Yep, console room over at the the Marriott over by the airport. I got to actually look. It's one of those things I go to every year, so I know where it is. Mm-hmm. But what the name of the hotel is, I always get kind of confused about. But it's at the Hilton MSP Airport by Mall of America. So, right. Yeah.
Well, if you want to see aliens, go to the Mall of America. You'll be okay. It's nice. It's nice that they tie it in over there, though. That can we bring in for the tourism, that's for sure.
That, and also, they have a lot of guests from the UK that come in, like the stars.
Yeah, and we have this year. They have who?
Sylvester McCoy,
the Seventh Doctor.
The Seventh Doctor. Remotely, they're going to have Sophie Aldred, who I've interviewed a couple times myself. Mm-hmm. She's amazing, and she was in Power of the Doctor. Uh-huh. And then Lisa Bowerman, who had been if you only watched the TV series, you'd have seen her on the episode, the story called Survival, the last of the classic series.
Yes,
she played one of the people that were turned into the tigers. We're really talking geek at the moment. Yeah, I'm losing your listeners. I think.
No, you're turning into a tiger. And then attacking them all in Miami. That's what happened.
That's really the thread here.
Sylvester McCoy, and as a matter of fact, we should remind people as well, not only some of these guys have had fairly decent careers both in Doctor Who, outside of Doctor Who. A lot of the guest stars have gone on to major success. Yeah, Carey Mulligan was just one of the ones I was thinking about before.
Oh yeah.
When I go back to Sylvester McCoy, one of the things that we should remember is he ended up having a lot of success with The Hobbit.
Absolutely.
And it was in those movies he played one of the wizards in that.
He was. And, one of the things I really enjoy a lot, I think back in the 80s, for a lot of people in the UK, they weren't very thrilled with Sylvester McCoy being the Doctor. They just thought that the series, we talked about it yesterday, the series kind of losing the thread, losing its way. I never thought that myself. I love that era. I love everything about it. But there are some things that he wasn't super strong with acting-wise. And now you watch years later in like The Hobbit and other things, and it's like he's acting along the likes of Ian McKellen and stuff. I mean, he's really come into his own, and it's been really incredible to see that journey. I mean, and I've seen him so many times over the years. He is a ball of energy, and he is a great human being.
This is okay. So if you don't know the show, just really quick for you out there, it's a show based in Britain. 1963 it debuts. It's, for the most part, had a pretty continuous existence. It was off the air for a few years in the early 90s. They did a movie with Paul McGann, came back. Yep. Christopher Eccleston took over as the 9th Doctor. We are currently at the 15th Doctor
We
now.
are.
When you talk about this, it also brought in there are some classic science fiction tropes that came out of this show. The greatest one is the regeneration. When the actor themselves says, you know what, I've done this for 3-4 years, I want to get out. They gave the Time Lords that they play, the Doctor is a Time Lord, this great out which they can regenerate into the next character.
Yep.
It is one of the greatest gimmicks of all time, and it's worked pretty well. I would make an argument. Sylvester McCoy's problem was not himself. It was Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor. I mean, I think that one just missed, especially coming after the 5th Doctor. It was. I understand what they were trying to do. Yeah, sometimes you make Joni Loves Chachi and it just doesn't work,
Right.
So and it just didn't work. And then McCoy, I thought. I think that show would have been off the air earlier if not for as good as Sylvester McCoy was in that role.
Yeah, I mean, he really held his own. And, very quick history on British television. The BBC put Doctor Who, they changed it from a Saturday night, moved it to during the week up against one of the biggest soap operas on the opposite channel, ITV, Coronation Street.
Yes.
And it certainly didn't beat it, but it certainly held its own against it, which was, there was a point that the BBC wanted to be done with the show, but Doctor Who fans and the public, they still would watch it. It was never as successful as, say, ratings-wise, like the Tom Baker years or whatever else, but it was still holding its own. And it's truly that wonderful combination of having a series that can be literally about anything. Mm-hmm. It could be literally about anything. And that's when I get confused when you have people who are watching the new stuff now. They may not like it for whatever reason, and that's their deal, but they're like, I need to get back to proper Doctor Who. There is no such.
You know as well as I do what that's kind of really about. Is that there are people they with Jodie Whittaker, the 13th Doctor, they basically regenerated into the first non-white male Doctor, and I think that there are just it's kind of one of those things that you've got to kind of get over that hump because the entire concept of it equals that, yes, at some point here, it's not going to be a white man if you're going to just regenerate him.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, the show is about inclusion.
Yes.
It's always been. Regardless of people if they want to close their minds to that at that time or not. You think back to a story called The 10th Planet, and there's some astronauts in space. And the head astronaut, he was black, and that's groundbreaking for that period of time. And even the actor who played him, it's just like, I thought that they wanted me to play like some menial role, and they had me as the lead astronaut in space. That's what Doctor Who has always, I think, been at its core. And that's what it continues to need to be, and I think it threatens some people when you have someone like in those specials, those Tenet specials, you have Rose, who's a trans person, and that threatens people for whatever reason, and that's their problem because you have this amazing character who, whether they like it or not, we're going to see more of her in some form in the Whoniverse.
Well, and it's also kind of the understanding of when they've had the best showrunners of that show, and I think of any show. I mean, we'll go back. Let's go to Star Trek too. I mean, the whole concept of Uhura that was groundbreaking at the time.
Was.
And the reality is that it was there was someone there, and it looks kind of I hate saying it looks kind of pathetic because it's still the one black person on the show at that point. But at the same time, even putting one on was considered a monumental task. And so the fact that the better showrunners of Doctor Who kind of at times sat back and said, well, if we're talking about the future, what is the future? And I think that's one of the great things about the show is it goes back in time. It does history things, but it also does great solid science fiction, and I think it's been fantastic. So, and once again, for people out there that are or may not be a Doctor Who fan, I encourage you to go watch it. I think it's good. It's now streaming on Disney Plus here in the United States, which I think is a huge deal. The fact that it's now being included in a major streaming service. I mean, the BBC America was carrying it here for a while. Their player just never really took off. So, when you're looking at it, it's on one of the better streaming services, which is, I think, an important element of it.
Very much so. And the thing about that, too, if you look at, what is going to happen, this is fact, just like Marvel, Star Wars. It's going to have its spin-offs. And there's one that we're hearing about now that has to do with Silurians and Sea Devils that we don't know anything else other than that. And that's going to start shooting in March. And that's the great thing about it. There's so much. And the brand is now called the Whoniverse. So, yeah.
It took off. When they relaunched it back in the early 2000s, Christopher Eccleston was there for one season. David Tennant was where it went nuts. Yeah. Then Matt Smith, and then in similar casting, I mean, whoever brought in Matt Smith after Tennant was a genius. Yeah, because that was good. Especially his second season was as good as it gets. Capaldi was the 12th Doctor. Then they went with Jodie Whittaker, and I thought she did a fine job. I especially liked her first season. I thought they had some real tentpole episodes in that one, and the idea they brought back David Tennant, who, we're really getting nerdy on you here. He's no longer the 10th Doctor. He became the 14th Doctor.
That's right.
But he, as the same guy with the same companion. That's what we're in right now. He did 3 specials, which were all excellent.
Yes.
The last one they brought back the Toymaker.
Yes.
That was as good as it gets.
And as someone as myself who studies British television and is a historian of it, everything to do with John Logie Baird with the television signals at the beginning being factual, about as factual as you can get.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the Toymaker was fantastic doing a dance to the Spice Girls.
Well, and it needs to be said that Neil Patrick Harris played the Doctor once before. Mm-hmm. As Doogie Howser. I'm running my mind. When did he do that? Yeah,
Neil Patrick Harris was fantastic as the Toymaker. He played it perfectly. He played it perfectly.
Yeah.
They regenerated. Now we have the 15th Doctor, and for the first time, we have an African-American Doctor. Who was he? What show was he on over there? Was it Coronation Street?
He was on Special Education, and he's
right.
He's Rwandan and Scottish, and Ncuti Gatwa is his name, and you and I were talking about it just yesterday. How amazing! From the moment he takes the screen, he's just vibrant, and he is full of life, and he's just wonderful.
You have to do it right, and I think they have an opportunity whenever they do that regeneration to introduce the new Doctor. They have an opportunity to really set it off. I think going back, and nothing against, I don't want to necessarily beat up on Colin Baker, but when he came on and he was this uptight and angry kind of person, that just didn't resonate.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that wouldn't have happened. It just doesn't resonate. I think they did the absolute perfect thing. This guy is the happy jumping around like a sprite in that show. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes.
I just think that people who and fans, we're very specific. We like things in its little boxes and stuff. Watching it, I think you just have to enjoy it. For those who are just like, well, I didn't like this about him. I don't like it. Enjoy it. Mm-hmm. It's a great. I think it's going to be a great ride.
I think it is too. I've always, there are people out there who's like nerd alert. And the reality is fandom is an interesting thing. For many years, people criticized Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans and Doctor Who fans, and they criticize fans of any television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or we could run the Angel that they did, and they or Friends or anything like this. They criticize you because you get into a pop culture thing, but the same people criticizing you have put purple face paint on every Sunday. They've got an entire room in their house decked out in purple and gold. They've got 15 different Viking shirts. They've got a purple car. Their coffin is going to be Viking themed. And yet they look at us as like, boy, you're kind of a loony fan. Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with fandom. it's easy to vilify it. But at the same time, I don't think that there's any difference between being a fan of a football team, a baseball team, of Doctor Who, or anything like this. You found something you resonate with and you enjoy. My kids, we watched together, and which I cannot believe I was able to do that with my young kids. The 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor. We talk about those episodes still. I think that there is something that if you have something like that and you have a fandom, it creates great family. You create more fans, and in the same sense as I like the Vikings because my dad watched the Vikings. Yeah. I love the Twins because my dad watched the Twins. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, and I think that when you get something that's gone 60 freaking years, man, that is just amazing that you can kind of till that kind of earth.
And I brought a friend in with the first of the specials, the Star Beast on Disney Plus, and I just wanted to get her reaction watching it with her. Because to many, Disney Plus would be the first time they've seen Doctor Who. Was it hard to follow? Did you understand what was going on? And she's like, no, this is really easy. So I say that for those who want to check it out on Disney Plus. It's 60 years, but it's also you can jump in and you can pick it up. It's not difficult. It's good eye candy. It's very well made, and I love Tennant much more this time around than the first time around, actually. I think this was an amazing portrayal of that character.
That second episode they did, that with them and Donna Noble just on the spaceship, that was phenomenal. Yeah. That was – because that's just quality acting. If you want to take someone back, go to the second season of Matt Smith with Nixon in the moonshot, and and there's a preview of something there when Matt Smith says, not the best president, and they're referring to Nixon, and he goes, yeah, and it's almost like he's saying he knows what's coming down the line in 2016. Once again, we have. So if you see Doctor Who fans, you're at the Mall of America this weekend. You're seeing people that have got long scarves, or basically they're skinny man in sneakers. If you see any of that, that's what's going on. When is the convention running from?
So the convention runs from Friday to Sunday, and you can go to council-room.com and also Council Room on Facebook, and you can still get tickets like day passes, weekend passes, I believe. So, and you can see all the stuff. And I'm just going to say real fast, I've been to many conventions around the world, and Council Room is such a unique one in the sense that the amount of detail it goes into making this a great convention. I get upset that they don't advertise themselves a little bit more to really share out the work that their people are putting into it. If you have a chance to check it out this weekend, do so.
Your favorite all-time story from Doctor Who?
Oh my gosh!
Okay, got to put you on the spot. I got two off the top of my head.
Okay, it's cheesy, but it's because it's so early in my watching of Doctor Who, the Five Doctors.
Okay. where they basically Tom Baker wasn't really there for most of it. They used a wax figure of him.
As a young kid, they put footage in of something I've never seen before in my life. I had no idea, no idea whatsoever.
Horrifang Rock.
Oh well, yeah.
God, come on, man. That's as good. That's Fourth Doctor, but you want to get one modern. What's the name of the Weeping Angels with Carey Mulligan?
Oh, that's Blink.
Blink, that's right.
Blink, and then also for me, the Doctor Falls. We're talking about that the second to last of the Capaldi episodes.
Yes,
with the two masters.
That's right. If you get the chance, watch Blink because if for no other reason, it will help you understand the entire time travel issue with this because no other episode kind of lays it out better for you, especially considering from Carey Mulligan, who is going to get nominated for another Oscar this year for Maestro. She is magnificent as all of us trying to figure out what the heck is this all about. That Blink is a brilliant episode.
It's lovely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. And once again, what do you got on tonight?
I have on Debbie Romero. She's going to do one question reading. She's a evidential psychic.
Okay.
It's going to be fun.
All righty. Nothing about 10. I mean, heck, if they're 10-foot tall supermodels running around Miami, I think you and I need to take our shows on the road to Miami.
Right. I'm going to go back upstairs, talk to Chad about it. So
we might be live on the road here soon. Greg Bakun, GhostBox Radio tonight. Make sure you're here for that. Let's take a break, wrap up the show when we do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.